Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
After a while, Zhou Zhou and the others saw Feng Luo standing on Auguste's dragon's back and flying into the sky. Finally, he turned into a dark green light spot in the sky and disappeared. At this moment, a soldier suddenly walked over and whispered something to Wu Xian. Wu Xian was stunned. Then, he walked in front of Zhou Zhou and said respectfully, "My lord, I have something to report." "What happened?" Zhou Zhou asked casually. He was just thinking that he had to go back later. One was to fuse the regional tokens he had obtained today into his territory stone tablet. The second was to convert the Holy Spirit tier scarlet crystals he had obtained today into Faith Divine crystals. Then, he would go to the Night Temple to discuss resurrecting the hero. The third thing was that Li Yi was coming back tonight. She would bring back more white platinum tier honorable subjects and let herself extract diamond tier aurora crystals to build more diamond tier elementary grade aurora towers. To the current him, every diamond tier elementary grade aurora kingdom tower could be used as his trump card. Zhou Zhou naturally had to do such an important matter personally before he could be at ease. "My lord." Just now, a soldier reported that a dungeon was discovered in East Demon City. Many people of foreign races are imprisoned in that dungeon. Moreover, these people of foreign races seem to be lords of all races. Wu Xian naturally did not know what Zhou Zhou was thinking. He respectfully told his lord what the soldier had just told him. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. "Bring me there," he said. "Yes, my lord." Wu Xian nodded. Then, the three of them followed the soldier to the southeast corner of the East Demon City. There were almost no private residences here, only a black prison and a few normal buildings scattered here and there. After the three of them entered the prison, they saw that it was completely controlled by the soldiers and guarded everywhere. "Greetings, my lord." "Hello, my lord." Zhou Zhou and the others arrived at a remote prison corridor. Then, he saw life forms of different races lying in the cells on both sides of the corridor. Most of them were covered in injuries, and their clothes were tattered. After hearing footsteps, some did not move at all, and some looked at them. Their gazes were either cold, numb, or filled with hatred. Obviously, they had suffered a lot here. Zhou Zhou also looked at them. Then, he was shocked to discover that these guys were actually lords of the people of foreign races through this information. Zhou Zhou was both shocked and delighted. He looked at these people of foreign race lords and realized that most of these people of foreign races had lord talent crystal fragments. However, there was not a single lord with a lord talent. Zhou Zhou shook his head. However, he still did not give up and continued to check as he walked. Along the way, he suddenly saw something and immediately stopped. A deformed human lay in the prison like a corpse. His body was covered in injuries, and some of his internal organs had even fallen out. A stench emitted from the surface of his body. Clearly, he was not far from death. Zhou Zhou looked at him. Then, he realized from the information he saw that the other party was actually their cerulean planet's human lord. "Open the cell door," Zhou Zhou said. When the soldier beside him heard this, he immediately took out a bunch of keys and opened the cell door. Zhou Zhou and the others walked in and realized that this person was indeed about to die. "Call a life priest over. Tell him to be fast," he said to the soldier who brought them over.
Yes.
The soldier nodded respectfully and turned to leave quickly. Soon, a young life priest quickly walked over. "Greetings, my lord. Tier 4 life priest, Laura is at your service," Laura said respectfully. Tier 4. It meant she was at the yellow gold tier. Zhou Zhou glanced at him and realized that she was a yellow gold tier intermediate grade life priest. "Heal him." He pointed at the lord of the cerulean planet lying on the ground. "It's a human." Laura nodded and came in front of him. She looked at the other party's injuries and raised her eyebrows slightly. Then, she did not say anything and began to use the divine art with the scepter in her hand. After using the limb restoration divine art, the other party's broken arms and legs returned to normal. She then used the life healing technique. The injuries on the other party's body and internal organs had returned to their original state, revealing his intact skin. After the last appeasement, The pain on the other party's face quickly disappeared. Then, he slowly opened his eyes. I'm not dead, Luo Chun said blankly. You almost died. But you were saved by my men. A voice suddenly sounded. Luo Chun stood up with a pale face like a frightened animal. I don't want to go to the animal arena. Spare me, he said in despair. Animal arena? Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He looked at Bai Yun. Bai Yun nodded slightly. There is indeed a large animal arena in the east of East Demon City. That's a self-built building. It's useless. It seems to be just an entertainment building facility that the sickle fog mantis prepared to pass the time. Originally, we didn't know what beasts that animal arena used to fight. I didn't expect it to be like this, she whispered. Zhou Zhou did not say anything, but his eyes became even colder. When he looked at the human lord again, his expression returned to normal. Luo Qin finally saw the guy standing in front of him. He was not the escort from the animal arena in the past, but a human who looked similar to him. He looked at the other party, standing there calmly in disbelief. He did not look like he was in danger at all. At this moment, the other party said something even more unbelievable. Moreover, he spoke in the Cerulean planet's language, the Chinese language of his motherland that he was most familiar with. Get up. I've already captured this place. You're free. But be careful in the future. It's not like someone will come and save you every time. Zhou Zhou extended his right hand. Luo Qin opened his mouth, and his eyes suddenly turned red. He thanked him and reached out to be helped up by Zhou Zhou. When he was helped up, Zhou Zhou also used the Master Thief's robbery gloves to extract the 6 black Iron Tier Lord talent crystal fragments from the other party's body. This could be considered his repayment for saving him. At this moment, Luo Chan stood up. He looked at his body in surprise. He clearly remembered that his limbs had been shattered by a lord of the people of foreign race before he fainted, and his body was also in ruins. Why did his injuries heal and even his shattered limbs return to normal when he woke up? He could not help but look at Zhou Zhou. Could this be the method of this human lord in front of him? He looked normal and not surprised at all. That should be the case. Thinking of this, Luo Chen became even more curious about the identity of the person in front of him. Excuse me, can you tell me your name? Luo Chen asked nervously. Just call me the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Zhou Zhou said. Lord of the Blazing Sun? You're the strongest lord of our cerulean planet's human race? Luo Chen's eyes widened as he asked in surprise. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. He was indeed qualified to call himself the strongest lord on the cerulean planet in terms of ranking alone in the lord battlefield. His battle results were real after all. Luo Chen looked a little excited. He had only heard of the Lord of the Blazing Sun on the World Channel in the past. Occasionally, he would buy some soldier-type class change certificates from his dealings. At that time, he felt that the Lord of the Blazing Sun was really powerful. He did not expect them to meet in reality. However, the scene was a little awkward. This prison was really not a good scene to meet. Zhou Zhou noticed the expression on his face. Let's go out and talk. He smiled. Okay. Luo Chen looked at Zhou Zhou gratefully. Then, the two of them, Bai Yun and Wu Xian, walked out of the prison. It's finally out. Luo Chen looked at the sun outside and was so excited that his body trembled. He had come out before. It was just forcefully dragged out by the sickle fog mantis of the animal arena. Then, he would return half dead. At that time, his greatest fear was to leave this prison. Even though he had also walked out of the prison, and he was free now, this feeling was naturally completely different from then. How did you get captured here? At this moment, Zhou Zhou's voice sounded. Luo Qin immediately came back to his senses. Big Boss Blazing Sunday. I was originally a lord in Green Forest. In the end, about 6 days ago, a group of red-eyed blood wasps suddenly appeared at the entrance of my territory. They destroyed my territory and killed all my subjects. They even brought me to this place and took pleasure in watching me fight the lords of other races. If Big Boss Blazing Sun hadn't appeared in time, I'm afraid I would have died in this prison. even though Luo-chan had already been saved by Zhou Zhou. However, fear still appeared on his face when he recalled his past memories. Zhou Zhou nodded. So it was the people of the Taiyan kingdom who took the initiative to look for him. At this moment, he was extremely glad that his initial territory was only a Black Iron Tier regional territory. Moreover, this Black Iron Tier regional territory was close to a human kingdom like the Aurora Kingdom. Otherwise, if the territory where the initial territory was actually close to a Crimson Kingdom like Luo-chan, even if he had the legendary Tier Lord talent, survival would probably be quite difficult. Not to mention reaching his current achievement. However, he was a little puzzled. How could the red-eyed blood wasp bring lords like Luo-chan and the others here? After that, Zhou Zhou understood what had happened as Luo-chan continued to tell him. So, not just Red Wasp Town. All the regional territories near East Demon City had been ordered by the Lord East Demon to destroy the lords of the territories around the Taiyan Kingdom and bring them back to fill the vacancies in the animal arena. This was how the lords of the people of foreign races, including Luo-chan, came about. Zhou Zhou frowned slightly. According to the Supreme Agreement, kingdom level and above factions in the High Continent could not take the initiative to harm the lords of all races who had just arrived in the High Continent. Unless the lords of all races had a death wish to provoke kingdom level and above forces, they could not attack. However, the East Demon City could actually send troops to surround them and even capture captives for fun. There were only two possibilities for this situation. First, the kingdom level and above factions mentioned in the Supreme will only included the factions favored by the Supreme will. The Lord faction favored by the Crimson Overlord was not within this restriction. Secondly, all of this was the spontaneous actions of the East Demon. It had nothing to do with the Taiyan Kingdom, so it could do such a thing. Zhou Zhou did not hesitate and tried to ask the Supreme which of his two guesses was right. The next second, a line of text appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. Supreme will notification. The Crimson Overlord has also acknowledged the existence of the Supreme Agreement. The Supreme will did not answer directly. However, Zhou Zhou also understood. The Crimson Overlord would not casually break the agreement. Even though kingdom level and above forces would not take the initiative to attack these lords of all races. However, if their subordinates had their own thoughts, this supreme agreement probably could not interfere. Zhou Zhou frowned slightly. In that case, that would really be disadvantageous to lords of all races like them. After pondering for a while, Zhou Zhou did not think too much about it. No matter what kind of danger he faced, it would not be wrong to develop his territory with all his might. When the time came, he would deal with whatever came his way. What are your plans next? Zhou Zhou looked at Luo-chan. Big boss Blazing Sun, can you take me in? My territory has been destroyed, and I can't return to the Cerulean planet. I'm already homeless. Luo-chan said gloomily. Sure. Then from today onwards, you are a subject of Blazing Sun City. When we return, the officials of Blazing Sun City will arrange a specific place for you to live and work. As for what you want to do in the future, it depends on you. Zhou Zhou agreed without hesitation. Such a small matter did not cost him much effort. Thank you, Big Boss Blazing Sun. I knew that you were a good person from the moment you sold those soldier-type, class change certificates. Luo-chan said gratefully. It's nothing. You and I are compatriots. Zhou Zhou smiled. As long as there was no competition, he was naturally willing to take care of his fellow Cerulean planet citizens. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Luo-chan was taken away by the other soldiers. He would follow this soldier back to Blazing Sun City and begin his new life. Zhou Zhou returned to the prison again and continued to check if there were any Lord talents in these Lords' bodies. In the end, after checking more than 200 people of foreign races, he actually did not find any Lord talent. Even though he was already prepared, he still felt a little helpless in the face of such a thing. Zhou Zhou did not say anything on the surface. He only continued to look at the remaining people of foreign race lords. At this moment, he came to the prison of a people of foreign race lord. This was a separate prison, and the arrangements inside were relatively clean and tidy compared to the other prisons. There was a monster more than 3 meters tall inside. Its surface was covered in green scales, and there were rows of ferocious sharp teeth in its mouth. There was a single horn raised to the sky on its head. It was different from the other numb and terrified lords of the people of foreign races. This guy did not show much fear other than vigilance when he saw him. Zhou Zhou looked at it curiously. Then, he looked at its interface information. Then, his eyes immediately widened. This. He looked a little shocked, but he was more surprised. Name: Roussel. Class: Adventurer. Strength level: White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Race: Demon Horn Crocodile Race. Introduction: He was once a lord of the Demon Horn Crocodile race. Later, his territory was destroyed by the sweeping East Demon Army, and he became an adventurer. Loot drop rate: 8 White Silver Tier Mist Cores. Drop rate: 100%. 1 White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book. Continuous 9-star Arrow. Drop rate: 10%. 1 White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book. Shield Bash. Drop rate: 8%. 1 White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book. Summon Firebird. Drop rate: 5%. 1 White Silver Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book. Landslide. Drop rate: 3%. 1 Mythical Tier Lord Talent Sphere. Drop rate: 0%. 1 Mythical Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragment. Drop rate: 0%. Zhou Zhou took a deep breath and sized up the fellow in front of him again. This guy was actually a Mythical Tier Lord Talent holder? Normally speaking, there was no natural Mythical Tier Lord Talent holder among lords. The highest was a natural Legendary Tier Lord Talent holder. Zhou Zhou only knew of one method to upgrade the owner of the Legendary Tier Lord Talent to the Mythical Tier Lord Talent. That was to become the strongest Novice Lord in the Novice Lord test and obtain the Mythical Tier Lord Talent Promotion Origin Crystal. Only then could he use it to upgrade his Legendary Tier Lord Talent and become a Mythical Tier Lord Talent. This was where his King of Loots came from, which meant this adventurer called Roussel in front of him was once the strongest lord of their Demon Horn Crocodile race? Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou looked at him strangely. Zhou Zhou had fought a lord with the mythical tier, the only lord talent. For example, the Machina race's lord father, the extreme venerable of the extreme dragon race, and some of the stronger people of foreign races' lords he had encountered when upgrading the lord battlefield. Perhaps it was because his lord talent was stronger, but even though these lords also had the mythical tier unique lord talent, they could not defeat him. However, even though he had encountered many of the strongest lords of the people of foreign races on the lord battlefield and had come into contact with their mythical tier, the unique lord talent, this was the first time he had come into contact with it in reality. Zhou Zhou looked at the other party's dismal expression and could not help but shake his head. Different people had different lives. They were both mythical tier, the owners of the unique lord talent. He could be said to be developing very well now, but the other party was living like this. He had even lost his status as a lord. In comparison, his luck was really good. At the same time, the demon horn crocodile race, Roussel, was still looking at Zhou Zhou warily. He was powerful and had performed very well in the animal arena, so the cells he arranged were much cleaner and neater than the cells of the other prisoners. Moreover, he did not encounter any special treatment and did not have any injuries on his body. He was just a little weak. During the animal arena, he had seen many big shots of the East Demon City. Even the city lord of the East Demon City had seen him personally a few times. But even so, he had never seen this life form in front of him before. He wanted to see the other party's information, but because of the existence of the void mask, no information appeared. This made Zhou Zhou's identity even more mysterious in his eyes. However, one thing was certain. The other party was not a fog creature and was a lord of all races. This could be seen from the fact that the other party's eyes had not turned scarlet. "May I ask who you are?" he said carefully in the common language of the High Continent. Roussel observed the other party's completely different form from the sickle fog mantis as he asked. He suddenly had an idea that he was not sure about. Could it be that East Demon City had been occupied by the other party? Otherwise, how could a lord of all races like him stand there so naturally? Thinking of this, Roussel's expression did not change, but killing intent arose in his heart. He had once used his previous strongest lord talent to possess many combat skills. If he could control the lord of all races in front of him, he might be able to escape from this godforsaken place. At that time, even if he lost his status as a lord, he would not be a nameless person. However, he was very weak now. There would only be one chance to succeed. He had to succeed in one go. Me? I'm the lord here. Zhou Zhou narrowed his eyes slightly and said as usual. The moment the other party's killing intent appeared, he sensed it with the powerful sixth senses of the chaos human bloodline. The other party probably thought that he did not know anything. Isn't this the territory of the East Demon City Lord? Roussel asked curiously. At the same time, he seemed to have involuntarily moved closer to Zhou Zhou because of his curiosity. All of a sudden, he exploded and pounced on Zhou Zhou at an astonishing speed. His expression was ferocious, and his eyes were bloodshot. Clearly, he wanted to succeed in one strike. But in the next second, spatial teleportation, Zhou Zhou's figure suddenly disappeared and arrived behind Roussel, causing him to miss. Roussel was stunned on the spot. He turned to look at Zhou Zhou with a look of disbelief. That was spatial teleportation? Wasn't that the ultimate skill that made the city lord of the East Demon City famous? Why did he know it too? Before he could think further, a monstrous hero pressure came from both sides, making him unable to move. They were Bai Yun and Wu Xian. At this moment, they glared at Roussel. They did not expect this guy to launch a sneak attack on their lord in front of them. Fortunately, the lord avoided it. Otherwise, the two of them would not be able to absolve themselves of the blame if anything happened. After the two of them took down Roussel, who had a blank expression on his face, Bai Yun and Wu Xian escorted him to Zhou Zhou and said shamefully, "I'm guilty for causing my lord to be in danger." What danger can a white silver tier advanced grade little guy be in? If not for the fact that I can't be bothered to do anything, I could easily deal with this guy myself. Zhou Zhou shook his head nonchalantly. He had yellow gold tier elementary grade skills and many life-saving abilities after all. Facing a white silver tier advanced grade lord of the people of foreign race whose skills he had seen through, it could be said that he was not in danger at all. This could be seen from the warning that his powerful sixth senses had not sent him that he was in danger. This foreign race lord who had once grasped the mythical tier, the only lord talent, was indeed quite strong among opponents of the same level. But he was stronger. And it was not just a little stronger. Even though Bai Yun and Wu Xian heaved a sigh of relief, they were still filled with guilt. Zhou Zhou did not care what the two of them were thinking and continued to look at the other people of foreign race lords. In the end, he really saw a second lord with a lord talent. The other party's entire body was in the form of white fog, gathering and dissipating formlessly. It looked quite strange. However, the cell where the other party was imprisoned was clearly specially designed for it. No matter how the other party wanted to crawl out through the crack of the cell door, as soon as he came into contact with it, he saw a blood-colored light flash past the cell door. The other party seemed to have been electrocuted and retreated repeatedly. The corner he was in looked like a marshmallow. Zhou Zhou looked at the other party's message. Name, Team Star. Combat class name, Mist Elemental Mage. Strength level, White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Race, Fog Spirit Race. Introduction. He was once a lord of the Fog Spirit Race. Later, his territory was destroyed by the sweeping East Demon Army. He became a Fog Elemental Mage with an Elemental Mage class change certificate. Loot's drop rate, 2 White Silver Tier Mist Cores, drop rate, 100%, 1 Green Bronze Tier Intermediate Grade Skill Book, Cloud Technique, drop rate, 10%, 1 White Silver Tier Elementary Grade Skill Book, Water Wave Technique, drop rate, 8%, 1 Gradeless Elemental Mage Class Change Certificate, drop rate, 5%, 1 Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Race Talent Sphere, drop rate, 0.0001%, 1 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Sphere, drop rate, 0%, 3 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments, drop rate, 0%? There's actually a racial skill book and a racial talent sphere? Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. He had seen more than 200 lords of foreign races just now. However, they were all like normal races. They did not have racial skills or racial talents. Even the lord of the demon horn crocodile race, Roussel, who had the mythical tier lord talent, did not have these two things. It could be seen how rare racial skills and racial talents were. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly and noted down this fellow's location. Then, he continued to look at the cells of the other people of foreign race lords. A moment later, Zhou Zhou finally finished reading the loots of all the people of foreign race lords. There were a total of 317 people of foreign race lords. Among them, only Roussel of the demon horn crocodile race and the fog spirit race had lord talents. The others were all lords without lord talents. Get rid of them all. Then bring me the corpses of the demon horn crocodile lord and the fog spirit lord. Zhou Zhou instructed Bai Yun. Yes, my lord. Bai Yun nodded. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he looked at the people of foreign race lords calmly one last time before walking out of the prison. Soon, the screams of these people of foreign race lords came from behind him. Zhou Zhou's back was facing the prison. His expression did not change at all when he heard the voice. His pity was only effective on lords of the same race or lords who were on good terms with him. As for these people of foreign race lords, those who are not of our race will definitely have different intentions. Zhou Zhou agreed with this sentence. Therefore, he would not pity them if he did not recruit them into the territory and was affected by the peace and prosperity lord talent. Be good and become my lord talent sphere and lord talent crystal fragment. A moment later, the cell behind him gradually fell silent. Soon, Bai Yun and Wu Xian brought the two corpses to Zhou Zhou. They were the corpses of Roussel of the demon horn crocodile race and the fog spirit race. Roussel's eyes widened with shock and anger. The cluster star also turned into a motionless cloud. They never expected this. He thought that even though his previous life was like hell, at least there was life to live. However, if another lord of the people of foreign race came over, he would actually kill them all. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. After the two of them left to deal with the corpses of the other lords, Zhou Zhou walked in front of the two corpses and placed his hand on the fog spirit race. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 2 yellow gold tier mist cores, 1 white silver tier intermediate grade skill book, Great Mist Technique, 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book, Furious Wave Technique, 1 gradeless elemental mage class change certificate, drop rate, 5%, 1 extraordinary tier elementary grade race talent sphere, 1 green bronze tier lord talent sphere, 3 bronze tier lord talent crystal fragments. Zhou Zhou began to check the loots. There was naturally no need to mention the mist cores and the green bronze tier lord talent crystal fragment. Among them, the Great Mist Technique was a spell that could summon a large amount of fog to form a maze-like fog environment to trap the enemy. The Furious Wave Technique was a pure water element attack spell. The Elemental Mage Class Change Certificate was a high-level combat class certificate. After Zhou Zhou had the Violent Storm Spirits Class Change Certificate, his standards had become a little higher. He no longer looked up to class change certificates of this level, not to mention that there was only one. There was no way to nurture it through the monster ranch. Therefore, Zhou Zhou was not interested in it and casually put it away. Then, he looked at the green bronze tier Lord Talent Sphere expectantly. Treasure name: Lord Talent Sphere, Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. Treasure grade: Green Bronze tier. Treasure effect: after absorbing it, the Lord will have the green bronze tier Lord Talent, Fighting God Full-Time Master 2. Treasure description: a Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a green bronze tier Lord Talent, Fighting God Full-Time Master 2? Zhou Zhou thought for a while and stopped thinking about it. He chose to absorb it. The next second, the text notification appeared again. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere, green bronze tier?
Yes.
Zhou Zhou said. The next second, This green bronze tier Lord Talent sphere immediately turned into countless bronze-colored light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. At this moment, Zhou Zhou had a strange feeling. He looked at his body and felt that some restriction or shackles on his body had been unleashed at that moment. This should be the effect of the Lord Talent, right? Zhou Zhou thought as he opened the Lord's personal information. His Lord Talent column had already been updated. Lord Talent, King of Loots, Mythical Tier, Unique. Gnome Alchemy Workshop, Green Bronze Tier. Monster Ranch, White Silver Tier. Insight Defection, White Silver Tier. Peace and Prosperity, Diamond Tier. Return to the City, White Silver Tier. Mysterious Caravan, Yellow Gold Tier. Master Thief's Robbery Gloves, Legendary Tier. Blessing of the Tin Gods, Blessing of the War God, White Platinum Tier. The Shelter of the Goddess of Life, White Platinum Tier. Night Temple, Extraordinary Tier. Dragon Slaying Hometown, White Platinum Tier. Gift of the Machina, Green Bronze Tier. Embrace of the Conqueror, White Silver Tier. Fighting God Full-Time Master 2, Green Bronze Tier. My 15th Lord Talent. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. Then, he looked at the details of the talent. Lord Talent, Fighting God Full-Time Master 2, Green Bronze Tier. Specific talent effect, you can have 2 additional combat class. Combat God hint. Once an additional class is chosen, it cannot be changed. Zhou Zhou was slightly surprised after reading it. Normal professionals could only have 1 combat class at most. He could take on many class roles. He did not expect this Lord Talent to be able to break through the restrictions of this combat-oriented class and give professionals 2 additional combat classes. In addition to the original combat class, Martial Artist, wouldn't I be able to have 3 combat class at the same time? Zhou Zhou immediately thought about which class was suitable for him and became really vexed. With a kingdom-level combat class like the Violent Storm Spirit in front of him, Zhou Zhou really could not think of a better combat class to take on. However, Zhou Zhou was really unwilling to choose the Violent Storm Spirit because he wouldn't be able to regret it if he encountered Empire-level battles against class, or even Divine Kingdom-level battles in the future. After thinking for a long time, he decided to put it aside for the time being. In any case, there was no hurry. He would find a suitable one in the future. Then, Zhou Zhou's gaze landed on this neighboring talent again. He thought for a moment and speculated, a Bronze Tier Fighting God Full-Time Master 2 can have 2 additional combat classes. What about higher level ones? White Silver Tier should be the Fighting God Full-Time Master 3. Yellow Gold Tier should be the Fighting God Full-Time Master V. Then the Mythical Tier should be Fighting God Full-Time Master X. If it really follows this pattern, wouldn't one person be able to have 11 combat classes at the same time? Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou took a deep breath. No wonder it was called the Fighting God. If he could master all 11 top combat class abilities, it would not be an exaggeration to call him the Fighting God. Zhou Zhou thought for a while before extracting another corpse. It was the corpse with the Mythical Tier with the unique Lord Talent. The Mythical Tier Lord Talent is already high enough. Is there a Lord Talent stronger than the Mythical Tier Lord Talent? Zhou Zhou was really looking forward to it. Zhou Zhou began to retrieve Roussel's loot. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 10 Yellow Gold Tier Mist Cores, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Rainform Archery Skill Book, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Earth Shield Bash, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Fire Fist Dao, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Summoning Demon Flame Sparrow, 1 Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill Book, Earth Collapse, 1 Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Unique Lord Talent Sphere, 1 Mythical Tier Advanced Grade Lord Talent Fragment. Zhou Zhou looked at the Mythical Tier Unique Lord Talent Sphere that had not changed at all, and a look of helplessness flashed across his eyes. Looks like the Mythical Tier is indeed the highest level. I can't increase quality by another level. Zhou Zhou quickly composed himself. Even though it could not be increased, it was also a Mythical Tier. the only Lord talent with real value. He had already obtained a huge opportunity. Zhou Zhou did not look at the other loots and looked directly at the mythical tier unique Lord Talent Sphere. Treasure name: Lord Talent Sphere, Lord Shop. Treasure grade: mythical tier, unique. Treasure effect: after absorbing it, the Lord will have the mythical tier, unique Lord Talent, Lord Shop. Treasure description: a Lord Talent Sphere purified by the Supreme Will. After absorbing it, you can obtain a mythical tier, unique Lord Talent. Lord Shop. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows and chose to absorb it without thinking too much. The next second, the text notification appeared again. Do you want to absorb this Lord Talent Sphere, mythical tier, unique?
Yes.
Zhou Zhou said. The next second, this mythical tier Lord Talent Sphere immediately turned into countless seven-colored light spots and surged into his glabella. Zhou Zhou closed his eyes. A moment later, he reopened his eyes again after some time. Then, he immediately looked at the details of the talent expectantly. Lord Talent, Lord Shop, mythical tier, unique. Specific talent effect: your territory has a Lord Shop that belongs solely to you. This Lord Shop will randomly refresh 2 to 3 goods every day. The range of the goods includes abilities, talents, bloodlines, equipment, and everything else owned by the territory subjects. You can choose to spin mist cores and territory tokens to buy them. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened after reading it, which meant if his subjects had any abilities, he had a chance of exchanging for any abilities from this Lord Shop. Zhou Zhou thought of the dead Roussel. No wonder that Guy's skills were mixed. So it was bought from the Lord Shop. He thought for a while more, then became more and more excited. In that case, could he exchange for Nazario's various super abilities through this Lord Shop? Regarding the abilities that Nazario had mastered, Zhou Zhou had been coveting it for a long time. Especially the other party's epic tier elemental immunity and epic tier physical immunity. Zhou Zhou had long envied the other party for having such a thick-skinned skill. As for the other party's divine dragon of destruction bloodline, Zhou Zhou was not very interested. His chaos human bloodline might not be much inferior to its divine dragon of destruction bloodline. It might even have higher growth potential. In my territory? Zhou Zhou thought for a while and decided to go back later. Bai Yun and the others were sorting out the overall gains today. It would not be too late to go back after they finished summarizing. Then, he looked at the other loots. He first looked at the extraordinary tier elementary grade talent sphere of the Fog Spirit race. Just now, he could not help but want to see the effect of the Lord Talent Sphere first, so he ignored it. Treasure name: Race Talent Sphere, Fog Spirit Body. Treasure grade: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure effect: after using it, you can have the ability to transform into a Fog Spirit Body. In the state of the Fog Spirit, your aura will completely disappear. Other life forms will only feel that the white fog is ordinary. At the same time, any physical attack that cannot reach the level of obliteration will not cause any damage to life forms in the state of the Fog Spirit Body. Treasure description: the racial talent of the Fog Spirit. After using it, you will possess the racial talent of this race. This talent is not bad. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. It was needless to say that it was an excellent obscure ability to make one's aura completely useless. In addition, physical attacks at the obliteration level were also very difficult to achieve. Typically, only extraordinary tier or even epic tier experts could unleash destructive physical attacks. This skill was definitely a divine skill for him at this stage in front of some enemies. However, its ability was also very flawed. That was, it could only defend against physical attacks and not elemental attacks. This could be seen from the fact that it was trapped in the cell and could not come out. It was restrained too tragically by the prison door made of elemental attack methods. Other than the experts who specialized in physics skills, a slightly stronger extraordinary tier would take the initiative to master 1 or 2 elemental skills to make up for their shortcomings in attack methods. But even so, Zhou Zhou did not hesitate and chose to learn it. In any case, it would be a waste not to learn. After learning it, he willed. The next second, His entire body quickly turned white and transparent. Soon, he collapsed into a large amount of white fog that enveloped a radius of 100 meters. The wind blew gently. The white fog floated higher and higher into the sky with the wind. After flying 100 meters high, Zhou Zhou restored his main body and activated his shadowless wings to fly back to the ground. Putting aside whether or not the skill is useful or not, it's pretty fun. Zhou Zhou's eyes were filled with novelty. Then, he looked at Roussel's other loots. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Rainform Archery. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Earth Shield Bash. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Fire Fist Dao. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade Skill, Summoning Demon Flame Sparrow. Other than that, there were also more than 10 Yellow Gold Tier skills. They were all pure attack skills. In addition, their grades were relatively high, so Zhou Zhou only glanced at their attack effect before putting them away. He could learn it when his strength increased to Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade in the future. With the White Platinum Tier Blessing of the War God, this time would not be long. A moment later, Bai Yun brought a summary list to Zhou Zhou and handed it to him. Zhou Zhou took it and immediately read it. Today, they have conquered a total of 19 regional territories. Among them, there were 7 Black Iron Tier regional territories, 7 Green Bronze Tier regional territories, and 3 White Silver Tier regional territories, 1 Yellow Gold Tier regional territory, and 1 White Platinum Tier regional territory. They had eliminated more than 200,000 sickle fog mantises in the White Platinum Tier territory East Demon City alone. In addition to the 50,000 red-eyed blood wasps in Red Wasp Town and the fog monsters in the other 17 regional territories, they had eliminated a total of more than 310,000 fog monsters. With the enhancement of the title of the King of Loots and the Strongest Lord, there were a total 60 Extraordinary Tier, 240 Diamond Tier, 102,367 White Platinum Tier, 629,873 Yellow Gold Tier, 904,628 White Silver Tier, 168,796 Green Bronze Tier Mist Cores, 364 Origin Crystals. There were 625,239 skill books and 756,932 equipment. More than 690 million units of basic materials. 316,902 True Faith Tier Scarlet Crystals. 162,978 Pious Tier Scarlet Crystals. 36,912 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals. 1 Holy Spirit Tier Scarlet Crystal. 22 Alchemy Pharmacist Recruitment Books. 16 Alchemy Technician Recruitment Books. 32 Mount Contracts. 16 Intermediate Grade Combat Class, Thunder Knight Class Certificate. 2 Advanced Combat Class, Wind and Rain Knight Class Certificate. 702 Green Bronze Tier Lord, Talent Crystal Fragments. 2 White Silver Tier Territory Tokens. 15 Green Bronze Tier Territory Tokens. 99 Black Iron Tier Territory Tokens. 1 White Platinum Tier Territory Token. 1 Yellow Gold Tier Regional Token. 3 White Silver Tier Regional Tokens. 7 Green Bronze Tier Regional Territories. 7 Black Iron Tier Regional Tokens. Then, he looked at the improvement of the soldiers. A total of 102,466 people had broken through after killing more than 310,000 fog monsters in a day. Among them, 42,396 had advanced to the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 30,238 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to Green Bronze Tier. 22,156 people advanced to the White Silver Tier. 15,031 people advanced to Yellow Gold Tier. 2,645 people had broken through to the White Platinum Tier. In addition, Bai Yun had broken through to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Soul Reaper Maris had broken through to the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Spectral Dragon Auguste had broken through to the Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade. Zhou Zhou looked quite satisfied after reading the breakthrough list. As expected of the White Platinum Tier Lord Talent, Blessing of the War God. With this Lord Talent, Even though they seem to have only eliminated more than 310,000 fog monsters, in fact, it was equivalent to 6.51 million fog monsters. After obtaining promotion energy equivalent to 6.51 million fog monsters, it was very normal for their strength to break through to this level collectively. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the summary of the strength of the soldiers at the bottom of the loot list. Now, he had a total of 143,256 soldiers from the Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army under his command. Among them were 46,057 Black Iron Tier soldiers. There were 54,782 Bronze Tier soldiers, 23,692 White Silver Tier. There were 15,912 Yellow Gold Tier. There were 2,813 White Platinum Tier. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he could not help but smile. After destroying so many fog monsters, the overall strength of his soldiers had increased several times, especially the White Platinum Tier soldiers, which directly increased from 164 to 2,816. The White Platinum Tier blessing of the 10 gods, the blessing of the War God, was really too strong. With so many White Platinum Tier soldiers around, it would probably not be long before it would give birth to the first Diamond Tier expert among his soldiers. After that, he first changed the name of East Demon City to Kingdom Beginning City. The meaning was very simple. This would be the starting point of his kingdom establishment. Then, he told Bai Yun and the others to guard Kingdom Beginning City and guard against the attack of the Taiyan Kingdom that might appear at any time. Then, he returned to Blazing Sun City through Return to the City. Blazing Sun City. In the Lord Manor, Zhou Zhou took out the 19 regional tokens he had obtained today and fused them into his territory stone tablet. The total number of regional territories under his command had reached 35 after all of them fused. Zhou Zhou waited for a moment. A familiar Lord announcement appeared on the entire channel. Cerulean Planet World Channel Lord announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun, becoming the first regional lord to officially own 30 regional territories. Reward, Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. A Lord announcement can really appear on the entire channel with 30 regional territories. Then what's the next time? 50, 80, or 100? Zhou Zhou guessed in his heart. He opened the World Channel. Not surprisingly, the lords on the World Channel were all discussing the number of his territories. The Lord of the Blazing Sun was developing too quickly. It was so fast that it was unbelievable. After that, he looked at the supreme treasure chest that had appeared out of thin air in front of him. He opened it and found a skill book inside. Zhou Zhou picked it up and looked at it. Skill name, Void Detection Technique. Skill quality, Special. Skill description. Through this detection technique, you will not be discovered by other life forms. There is also a certain chance of seeing through the hidden information on the other party. Void Detection Technique? It's actually such a skill? Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. He looked at the information of this skill and immediately remembered that he had peeked at Big Boss by his specific information at the Night Temple last time. In the end, he was discovered by the King of Abyssal Knights and even kindly reminded him not to casually check the information of experts. If he had this skill back then, perhaps he would not have been discovered when he first obtained the other party's information. Not to mention that this skill had a certain chance of seeing through the other party's hidden information. Good skill. Zhou Zhou immediately learned. Then, he went next door and looked at Aliyah and the Atli sisters. Zhou Zhou did not bring the two sisters to the battlefield because their strength was average. Instead, he stayed in the manor and was in charge of helping him deal with daily matters. My lord. The two sisters stood up and said respectfully. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Then, he looked at Atli's message, but there was nothing hidden in her message. Then, he looked at Aliyah's message. Subject, Aliyah. Territory, Blazing Sun City. Combat class name, Martial Artist. Class, White Silver Tier Advanced Grade. Ability Overview. A member of the Catman race, a martial artist. She is now the maid of the Lord of Blazing Sun City. She is in charge of the Lord of the Blazing Sun's daily life and assists in daily matters. Skills: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manual, Earth Splitting Claw Technique. Yellow Gold Tier Intermediate Grade Martial Arts Manual, 7-star Steps. Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade Martial Arts Manual, Mystic Essence Shield. Green Bronze Tier Advanced Grade Martial Arts Manual, Gust Blade. Loyalty: 100, Dead Loyal. Potential: White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Obstruction Information 1. Aaliyah likes her lord. Obstruction Information 2. Aaliyah likes Win Stats Martial Arts Manuals. Zhou Zhou. He looked at Aaliyah. Right. You're actually craving my body. Zhou Zhou shook his head in his heart and did not mind. He did not want to think about romance now. Go find a special shopping center in the territory. You might not be allowed to enter that special mall, but it's fine. Just tell me when you find it. Zhou Zhou said to them. Yes, my lord. When the Catgirl sisters heard this, they immediately accepted the order and left the room. Zhou Zhou also returned to his room. He took out the 19 regional treasure chests. Among them were 7 black iron tier region treasure chests, 7 green bronze tier region treasure chests, 3 white silver tier region treasure chests, 1 yellow gold tier region treasure chest, and 1 white platinum tier region treasure chest. Zhou Zhou opened them one by one. Among them, the black iron tier, green bronze tier, and white silver tier regional treasure chests opened 6 black iron tier regional exclusive resource packs, 5 green bronze tier regional exclusive resource packs, and 1 white silver tier regional exclusive resource pack. There was also 1 black iron tier, 2 green bronze tier, and 2 white silver tier. A white platinum tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp lord pet egg appeared in the yellow gold tier regional treasure chest. After hatching, he could directly obtain a white platinum tier intermediate grade red-eyed blood wasp lord pet. Zhou Zhou immediately thought of the red-eyed blood beehive in Red Wasp Town. There was no lord leading and protecting the red-eyed blood wasp younglings there. After it hatched, he could arrange it there. As for the white platinum tier regional treasure chest, it directly gave him 100 special equipment, shadowless wings. Zhou Zhou was overjoyed. There was finally something good. If this shadowless wings was arranged for Wu Tu's heavenly army, he would be able to come and go without a trace to investigate the enemy in the future. It could be said to be like adding wings to a tiger. This moment, my lord, we're back, X2. The voices of Aaliyah and Atli came from outside. Zhou Zhou was a little surprised and immediately called them in. My lord, we've already found the shopping center you mentioned. Aaliyah reported. You found it so quickly? Zhou Zhou said in surprise. Because it's beside the Lord's manor. That's why we saw it as soon as we walked out of the manor. Atli explained with a smile. So close? Then bring me there. Zhou Zhou immediately said. Yes, my lord, X2. Then, the three of them did not waste any more time. They walked out of the Lord Manor and walked towards the Lord's shop. The three of them soon arrived at a building. Still. This is the Lord's shop? Zhou Zhou looked at the building blankly. This building was only 4 to 5 meters tall and was only 7 to 8 meters long and wide. It looked less than the size of a roadside shop and could not be seen at all. At this moment, in a seat in the Lord's shop, a middle-aged old man with a little bald head, reading glasses, and a thin black sweater seemed to have sensed the guest's arrival. He put down the needlework in his hand and stroked his reading glasses. Then, he stood up and went to the black counter at the entrance of the shop. He looked at Zhou Zhou, who was among the three of them. Greetings, my lord. He chuckled. Are you the boss here? Zhou Zhou asked. That's right. I'm the owner of this lord's shop. My name is Zhou Qingmin. My lord, you can call me Old Zhou. Zhou Qingmin smiled. Zhou Zhou nodded. Then, he let the two sisters return to the Lord Manor before coming to the opposite side. I want to see my goods today. He went straight to the point. Okay. Zhou Qingmin smiled and nodded. Then, he took out 3 boxes from the counter below and opened them one by one. The first box contained a golden heart, and the faint roar of a dragon came from inside. There was a purple jade in the second box and a skill book in the third box. Zhou Zhou looked over. The first golden heart came from Wu Xian's epic tier advanced grade Golden Dragon Bloodline. Bloodline name: Golden Dragon Bloodline. Bloodline level: epic tier advanced grade. Bloodline effect: the user can obtain an epic tier advanced grade bloodline, Golden Dragon Bloodline. After absorbing it, the user will gradually awaken some Golden Dragon race abilities during their growth after fusing with this bloodline. The second purple crystal came from Xiao Xian's top talent, Celestial Appearance. Talent: Celestial Appearance. Talent effect: a life form with celestial appearance has an extraordinary charm. When life forms of any race see a living being with celestial appearance, they will see a beauty that suits their aesthetic standards. The third was Nazario's most lethal single-target dragon magic, Blazing Explosion. Skill name: Blazing Explosion. Skill quality: enhanceable. Skill description: extremely condensed fire elemental power, forming an extremely lethal and penetrating elemental fire pillar. Then, it is released and instantly destroys anything in the path of the elemental fire pillar. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened as he looked at the three goods. Good God! None of the goods were given for free. He thought that some very trashy goods might randomly respawn. He did not expect it to be so awesome and exciting. Was this the mythical tier, unique Lord talent? Are all the goods randomly refreshed every day like this? Zhou Zhou could not help but ask. Our shop has just opened today, so the probability of randomly obtaining desirable goods today has been slightly increased. Not in the future. Zhou Qingmin shook his head. Zhou Zhou was immediately disappointed. But in the next second, Zhou Qingmin changed the topic. Still, this shopping mall is here to assist the Lord to become the strongest Lord. Therefore, no matter how bad the randomly refreshed goods are, at least one good that is useful to the Lord will appear. Therefore, my Lord, you don't have to worry. All the goods that appear are useless goods. Zhou Zhou nodded. This was the mythical tier, unique Lord talent. Then what's the price of these three goods? He asked. The Golden Dragon Bloodline is worth 10 epic tier mist cores and 1 epic tier territory token. Talent: Celestial Appearance is a top-notch talent. It requires 10 legendary tier mist cores and a low-tier deity level territory token to buy. As for Blazing Explosion, even though its potential is astonishing, its growth period is too long after all. It doesn't have much combat strength in the short term. Therefore, it's only worth 10 diamond tier mist cores and 1 diamond tier territory token. Zhou Zhou. He looked at the other party's responsible and slightly smiling face and wanted to ask, how can I exchange for any of these goods? The prices are too ridiculous. Especially Xiao Xian's celestial appearance. This talent was indeed top-notch. But wasn't it just an appearance talent? What was he thinking? That it was worth 10 legendary tier mist cores and a low-tier deity level territory token. I don't have any that I can sell. The mist core is still alright. How can I obtain that epic tier or even low-tier deity level territory token with my current development stage? Zhou Zhou could not help but complain. I can offer you a loan. My lord, you can owe us the territory token first. You can take it back and repay the loan when you obtain the corresponding level of the territory token in the future. Zhou Qingmin smiled. There's interest, right? Zhou Zhou looked at him warily. That's natural. This shopping mall can't make a loss either. As for the interest, it's... Zhou Qingmin was about to speak when Zhou Zhou raised his hand to stop him. Don't say anything else. I won't take the loan, he said decisively without hesitation. Why? Zhou Qingmin was stunned. He had yet to say anything. I don't borrow anything, Zhou Zhou said firmly. It was not a good habit to like to borrow money, especially for people who were not rich to begin with. Fine. Zhou Qingmin could only stop mentioning this topic seeing how Zhou Zhou rejected him so many times in a row. Is there really no other way? Zhou Zhou could not help but ask. There is indeed an easy way. That is to exchange the territory token for the corresponding mist core. For example, a low-tier deity level territory token can be exchanged for 10 legendary tier mist cores. An epic tier territory token can be exchanged for one epic tier mist core. A diamond tier territory token can also be exchanged for a diamond tier mist core. And so on and so forth. Zhou Qingmin said, "That's a good idea." Zhou Zhou acknowledged. It was just a little wasteful of the mist core. He could not help but look at all the mist cores in his heavenly mist treasure bag. Then, he calculated how many he would have to turn them all into legendary tier mist cores. Soon, Zhou Zhou came to a conclusion. 27. After all the mist cores he had obtained during this period of time were converted into legendary tier mist cores, he could exchange them for a total of 27 legendary tier mist cores. There was still a little left, but he could not gather a legendary tier mist core. Zhou Zhou pursed his lips and suddenly felt a little unwilling. These were 27 legendary tier mist cores. If it was the black iron tier mist cores, it would be a total of 2.7 billion black iron tier mist cores. If this wealth was taken out, he could definitely be considered the richest person on the cerulean planet. However, Zhou Zhou thought for a moment and finally decided to take them out to buy these 3 items with difficulty. The mist cores could not multiply even if he were to keep them. He had to spend what needed to be spent. I want the other 2 goods other than blazing explosion. Zhou Zhou gritted his teeth. Zhou Zhou did not lack offensive methods. He also had many growth-type attack skills. For example, the chaotic blade chi. Therefore, there was no need to exchange for this blazing explosion. As for the other 2 goods, they had to be exchanged. The celestial appearance talent was the most expensive commodity. Even though Zhou Zhou did not know why its price was so high, his lord talent would definitely not cheat him. There must be a reason. On the other hand, the golden dragon bloodline could be absorbed to increase the level of his chaos human bloodline. This was naturally very important. After hearing Zhou Zhou's words, Zhou Qingmin could not help but look at his lord in surprise. He did not expect the other party to be able to take out so many mist cores at this stage. A smile appeared on his face. It seemed that following this lord would at least make him rich. The total price is 20 legendary tier mist cores and 11 epic tier mist cores. Zhou Qingmin said. Then, he handed the purple crystal of the golden dragon bloodline and talent, celestial appearance, to Zhou Zhou and placed the blazing explosion in the box before returning to the counter. When Zhou Zhou saw this scene, he communicated with the heavenly mist treasure bag and controlled it to begin synthesizing the mist cores. What will happen to these goods that I didn't buy? Will they be refreshed? They won't. These remaining goods will always be on my list of goods. You can buy them when the Lord wants to buy them, Zhou Qingmin said. Zhou Zhou was even happier. This was undoubtedly the best thing for him. Even if he encountered goods he wanted to buy but could not in the future, there was no hurry. He would buy them when he saved up enough mist cores. Wait. At this thought, Zhou Zhou suddenly realized something. Lord Shop. A shopping mall. Generally speaking, it referred to a place that sold a large number of all kinds of goods. Could the name of this Lord Shop be hinting that there would be a large number of goods that he could not afford in the future? Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou hurriedly shook his head. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I, the Lord of the Blazing Sun, will never lack mist cores in my life. At this moment, the heavenly mist treasure bag shook slightly, indicating that he had condensed the mist core. Zhou Zhou took out 20 legendary tier mist cores and 11 epic tier mist cores and handed them to Zhou Qingmin. He looked at the heavenly mist treasure bag that had shrunk by 3/4 and his heart was trembling. However, he did not show any reaction on the surface. He only calmly put away the golden dragon bloodline and celestial appearance talent crystal and asked, "When will there be new goods tomorrow?" "I'll open for business on time, every morning. That's about the time the sun rises. When the time comes, my lord, just come over." "Okay." Zhou Zhou nodded. He was about to leave when he thought of something and said to Zhou Qingmin, "Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Welcome to becoming my subject." He had to go through the fixed procedure. "My pleasure." Zhou Qingmin was stunned for a moment before nodding with a smile. Zhou Zhou nodded and turned to walk towards his Lord Manor. In the Lord Manor. In Zhou Zhou's room. In the living room. At this moment, Zhou Zhou was sitting on the sofa. He had already calmed down and was thinking about summarizing what had just happened. The goods that randomly appear in the Lord's shop depends on what my subjects have. It seems that I have to invite more powerful or special talents to join my subjects in the future. This way, there will be a chance that the abilities they are most proud of will belong to me. When I gather the strongest abilities of all the subjects, then I'm probably the most perfect lord in the world. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou finally realized what Zhou Qingmin meant by the strongest lord. This lord shop was indeed prepared to create the strongest lord. With this lord shop, not to mention the green phoenix immortal body and the gluttonous demon body, even if it was a mythical tier unique physique, he might be able to match or even surpass it after he grew up. Currently, the premise was that he could develop this lord shop to the greatest extent and let it grow into a true, strongest lord. However, even if it was not developed well, at the very least, he did not have to worry about being labeled as weak lord. Zhou Zhou stopped thinking about it. He took out the 2 boxes and took out the golden dragon bloodline and talent, celestial appearance crystal. He first picked up the golden dragon bloodline and took a look. Then, he was surprised to discover that there was no notification of bloodline optimization at the bottom of the golden dragon bloodline. Of course, this did not mean that the golden dragon bloodline was the strongest. After all, there were many higher-level bloodlines above the golden dragon bloodline. There were even stronger bloodlines like the Divine Dragon of Destruction bloodline, Extreme Dragon Race bloodline, Yellow Gold Tier Divine Dragon bloodline, and the Radiant Divine Dragon bloodline among the dragons. There was no optimization notification for the Golden Dragon bloodline, which meant that this bloodline had no obvious flaws and did not need to be optimized for other points. He stopped thinking and chose to absorb it. As the heart turned into a large amount of golden blood and surged into the surface of his body. Soon, a text notification appeared. You have absorbed 1 portion of the Golden Dragon bloodline, Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Your Chaos Human bloodline has unearthed more potential and advanced to Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Your 6 Senses ability has been strengthened. You have awakened the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade, Chaos Human Race Talent, Dragon Transformation. You have awakened the Epic Tier Advanced Grade Golden Dragon Race Talent, Gold Elemental Control. You have awakened the Epic Tier Advanced Grade Golden Dragon Race Talent, Dragon Might. Your racial talent, Dragon Might, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, has mutated under the influence of the Chaos Human bloodline. It has mutated into Chaos Intimidation, Epic Tier Advanced Grade. You have awakened the Epic Tier Advanced Grade Golden Dragon Race Talent, Dragon Breath. Your racial talent, Dragon Breath, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, has mutated under the influence of the Chaos Human bloodline. It has mutated into Chaos Breath, Epic Tier Advanced Grade. You have grasped the inheritance of the dragon race's common sense. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the dragon race. You have mastered the Epic Tier Advanced Grade racial skill, Dragon Language Proficiency. You have mastered the Epic Tier Advanced Grade racial skill, Golden Dragon Armor. You have mastered the Epic Tier Advanced Grade racial skill, Immortal Golden Dragon Body. You have mastered the Epic Tier Advanced Grade racial skill, Golden Dragon Slumber. You have mastered the Epic Tier Advanced Grade racial skill, Legendary Tier Physical Immunity, Awakening Rate 5%. A large number of memories and inheritances surged into his mind. Zhou Zhou could not help but close his eyes. After more than an hour, he opened his eyes. At this moment, his face was pale and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. His expression was weak. He did not look expectant at all. This dragon race has been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years. It's too much. I can't accept even common sense and secret dragon inheritances now. Fortunately, the remaining inheritance is now sealed in the depths of my memories. When my strength increases and my soul level increases in the future, I can accept the remaining inheritances again. Zhou Zhou thought. Then, he did not immediately look at the various abilities of the race that his bloodline had just awakened. Instead, he closed his eyes and rested on the bed for about half an hour. Then, he got up and began to check those racial talents and racial skills. Zhou Zhou first looked at the only awakened Chaos Human Race talent, Dragon transformation. Racial talent name. Dragon transformation. Talent level. Epic tier advanced grade. Enhanceable. Talent description. Your chaos human bloodline has absorbed the bloodline power of the dragon race. You can use this bloodline power to temporarily transform into a pure-blooded golden dragon with yellow gold tier elementary grade strength and possess all its bloodline abilities. Talent hint 1. As your physical strength increases, the strength of the pure-blooded golden dragon you transform into will also increase. Talent hint 2. You can absorb more pure-blooded dragon talents to increase the level and number of bloodlines and types of dragons transformed into. From there, you can trace back to the oldest bloodline power of the dragon race. Zhou Zhou was pleasantly surprised when he saw this skill. As the owner of 2 pure-blooded dragon pets, he naturally knew very well how powerful pure-blooded dragons were. The extreme dragon race could occupy a place even in front of the strongest races like the original spirit race and the chaos gods race. According to the common sense inheritance of the dragon race and the secret inheritance of the dragon race that he had just obtained, while the extreme dragon race was indeed a top-notch dragon bloodline among the various dragon bloodlines, it was far from it in terms of the top bloodline. Legend had it that the top ancient dragon bloodline could not even form a race because there were too few of them. There might only be a dozen of them in a generation, 2 or 3, or even 1. For example, the Time Divine Dragon, the Fate Divine Dragon, the Star Devouring Demon Dragon, the World Dragon. There was also the Yellow Golden Holy Dragon that would only give birth to 1 in a generation and was also known as the Dragon God Professions by the dragon race. These were the top ancient dragons of the dragon race, which meant if he could continuously absorb dragon bloodlines in the future, not only could he increase the level of his chaos human bloodline, but he could also increase the realm of the dragon transformation and transform into an even more top-notch ancient dragon. Perhaps one day, even the Fate Divine Dragon, the Time Divine Dragon, the Star Devouring Demon Dragon, the Yellow Gold Tier Divine Dragon, or other ancient dragons might be able to materialize. This dragon transformation race talent could be said to have huge potential. Still, he already had the will of the Dragon Slayer King, but now, he had gained the dragon transformation ability. Has the Dragon Slayer finally become an evil dragon? Zhou Zhou's expression was strange. He sensed the Dragon Slayer King's will in his mind and realized that this will did not affect his chaos human bloodline. Well, his chaos human bloodline was only at the yellow gold tier advanced grade. It was far from reaching the level of a high-level bloodline race. Naturally, it could not trigger the will of the Dragon Slayer King. However, he did not know how the Dragon Slayer King's will would react when his chaos human bloodline advanced to the high-level bloodline level in the future. Zhou Zhou pondered. Then, he did not think of anything and stopped thinking about it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There was no need to think about what would happen in the future. Let's deal with the matter at hand first. Thinking of this, Zhou Zhou looked at the race talents behind him. Race talent name, Gold Elemental Control. Talent level, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, Enhanceable. Talent description, the Chaos human bloodline in your body controls the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline. You are very sensitive to the metal elemental energy in the universe. Moreover, you are naturally good at controlling metal elemental energy and developing metal elemental related abilities. Race talent name, Chaos Intimidation. Talent level, Epic Tier Advanced Grade, Enhanceable. Talent description, the Chaos human bloodline in your body makes you unafraid of any level of bloodline pressure. Moreover, when a life form releases hostile bloodline pressure to you, you can passively or take the initiative to release the Chaos human bloodline pressure to intimidate the other party. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly when he saw the Chaos Intimidation. In the past, he had the Dragon Slayer King's will and relied on it to face the bloodline pressure of other high-level races. Now that he had this chaotic intimidation, he could allow the Dragon Slayer King's will to continue hiding and let the chaotic intimidation face the bloodline pressure of other high-level races. This could also reduce the possibility of the dragon slaying will being exposed. As for the dragon race's common sense inheritance and the dragon race's secret inheritance, as the name suggested, it was the knowledge about the common sense and secrets of the dragon race recorded in the Golden Dragon bloodline. Even though they were all things similar to encyclopedias and history books, that was still an encyclopedia and history accumulated for hundreds of thousands of years. To a lord like Zhou Zhou, who had a relatively shallow foundation of the race, it was much better than giving him a pile of powerful combat skills. The simplest benefit was that, for example, if he encountered a race he did not know in the future, he would be able to recognize it without even flipping through the index of all races as long as it was not too rare. If he encountered opportunities like natural treasures or treasures he did not know, he might be able to directly recognize their origins and easily obtain them. In addition, this inheritance could also allow Zhou Zhou to be more calm and confident when facing all living beings in the future. Then, he looked at the racial skill behind him. Racial skill name: Draconic Mastery. Skill quality: Special. Racial skill description: You are naturally good at communicating, reading, and writing in Draconic. After learning Draconic magic, you can also use this to cast Draconic magic. Racial skill name: Golden Dragon Armor. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You can use the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline to condense a Golden Dragon armor on the surface of your body to protect yourself and fight. Racial skill name: Undead Golden Dragon Body. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You have the power of the Golden Dragon bloodline. Even if your body is shattered, you can recover from your injuries by absorbing metal elemental energy or substances with metal elemental energy. You can even undergo blood rebirth. Prompt: The more complicated the shattering of the body, the longer the restoration will take. If you use the Undying Golden Dragon Body, which is almost equivalent to resurrection, it will greatly consume the bloodline foundation of the Golden Dragon bloodline, and you will fall into a long period of enfeeble. You need a large amount of replenishment of gold elemental energy or substances with gold elemental energy to gradually replenish it. Racial skill name: Golden Dragon Slumber. Skill quality: Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You can use the power of the Golden Dragon's bloodline to sleep in the center of an underground metal mine for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or even longer. During this slumber, your body will spontaneously absorb the surrounding energy to speed up the repair of your injuries and slowly increase your strength. Racial skill name: Legendary Tier Physical Immunity. Awakening Level 5%. Skill quality: Legendary Tier Advanced Grade. Racial skill description: You have the bloodline power of the Golden Dragon. Your body is incomparably powerful from birth. Even without any defense cultivation, your physical strength can gradually obtain the Legendary Tier Physical Immunity ability as your strength increases. Zhou Zhou clicked his tongue. As expected of the bloodline of a pure-blooded dragon, even golden dragons that were not famous among the dragons. The series of racial talents and racial skills it awakened were also much stronger than the bloodline awakening abilities he had absorbed previously. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at the other purple jade. It was a jade stone that represented talent, celestial appearance. Activate. Zhou Zhou picked it up and muttered in his heart. The next second, the purple jade turned into wisps of hazy purple fog and fused into various parts of his body. Zhou Zhou felt his entire body heat up slightly. Then, he felt nothing else. That's it? Zhou Zhou was stunned. He emptied more than half of his wallet and spent a total of 20 legendary tier mist cores in exchange for this change. He did not believe it and took out a mirror from his spatial ring to look at himself. At first glance, he felt that it was nothing. He was still very handsome. He was already very handsome before he used the celestial appearance after all. Taking a closer look, he did seem to be a little better looking than before. This forehead, this brow, this chin. Originally, Zhou Zhou could not see any flaws in them. But now, it was as if the ratio, nuance, and matching of the various organs were more perfect. Zhou Zhou looked at his entire body again. He realized that he also had a warm, handsome, but unyielding and bold temperament, a little like Erlang Godwin. Zhou Zhou was instantly satisfied. He did not care about the price of 20 legendary tier mist cores. Becoming stronger was only a matter of time after all, but being handsome or not was a matter of a lifetime. This money was worth it. Then, he looked at his skill column. As expected, he saw the words talent, celestial appearance at the front of the skill column. Zhou Zhou opened it and thought that he would see the same talent information as before. He did not expect there to be a line of talent notifications. Talent hint: you will need to spend a long time to accept the adjustments made by your talent to your figure, appearance, and temperament to achieve the final celestial appearance. Current adjustment progress, 5%? Zhou Zhou's eyebrows could not help but tremble. Only 5%? Wouldn't he be oh so handsome if it hit 100%? I didn't spin the mist cores in vain. Zhou Zhou closed the skill column and said calmly. However, the corners of his mouth that could not help but curl up revealed the joy in his heart. After a long time, he opened the marketplace and set up a transaction. He placed 500,000 skill books and 500,000 equipment inside. These equipment were obtained from destroying more than 310,000 fog monsters today. However, Zhou Zhou removed the white platinum tier and white platinum tier equipment inside, leaving only yellow gold tier and below. This equipment happened to be the equipment that the lords of the cerulean planet needed the most at this stage, so it was also the easiest to sell. He believed that it would not take long to sell them. Now that his wallet was mostly empty, he had to earn some back. Otherwise, he might not even be able to afford the goods from the Lord's shop tomorrow. At this moment, Aaliyah's voice sounded outside the door. My lord. The princess of the Aurora Kingdom, Leah, and her maid, Yu Qiao, request an audience. Invite them in. Zhou Zhou reacted and immediately said. Leah had indeed returned. He had forgotten to ask if Leah had returned. Soon, Leah and Yu Qiao were brought in by Aaliyah. Zhou Zhou, I'm back. Leah smiled when she saw Zhou Zhou. Then, Yu Qiao and her were stunned at the same time. Leah subconsciously looked at Zhou Zhou for a few seconds before realizing what she was doing. She lowered her head with a red face, not daring to look into Zhou Zhou's eyes. Yu Qiao, who was beside him, blushed and wanted to bury her head in her clothes. I haven't seen you in a day. Zhou Zhou, why do you look better? Leah whispered. At this moment, Zhou Zhou's appearance was like seeing a prick or even several pricks that poked at the man she yearned for the most in her heart. It tempted her. She was originally a person who was dedicated to her country and had no intention of getting involved in love. However, because of Zhou Zhou's 5% celestial appearance, she actually yearned for romance. Beside her, Yu Qiao also agreed with her princess's thoughts like a chick pecking at rice. There's an old saying in my hometown. It's called, one's spirit is refreshed when there's a happy occasion. I might look better because I'm happy. Take a seat first. Zhou Zhou smiled. He did not mention the celestial appearance. However, he still felt that it was quite interesting looking at the other party's embarrassment. At the same time, he was even more amazed by the power of the celestial appearance. What a godly flirting skill. At this moment, Leah's expression gradually became more natural as a princess, and she was no longer as embarrassed as before. She sat down and chatted with Zhou Zhou for a while before telling him the good news she had brought. I brought the honorable subjects and the territory fusion certificates you need. She said. How many are there? Zhou Zhou immediately asked. Before that, I want to ask something. Leah said hesitantly. What is it? Just say it. Zhou Zhou looked at her in surprise. I remember you saying once that you have a way to obtain a large number of aurora crystals, right? Leah asked. Zhou Zhou quickly recalled. That seemed to be before the novice lord test. Leah's attitude towards him was not bad at that time and was quite helpful. In order to return the favor, Zhou Zhou said something. He did not expect the other party to still remember. Right. Zhou Zhou nodded and admitted it. What is it? Can you tell me? This method is very important to our Aurora Kingdom. I can buy this method from you on behalf of the Aurora Kingdom, no matter the price. Leah said anxiously. The Diamond Tier Elementary Grade Aurora Kingdom Tower had already been recognized by the higher-ups of the Aurora Kingdom as a strategic weapon second only to Extraordinary Tier heroes. As a result, They needed diamond-tier aurora crystals very much. However, they did not have a 100% drop rate like Zhou Zhou, so the efficiency of using the honorable subject's corpse was very low. If they could obtain Zhou Zhou's method and create a large number of diamond-tier elementary-grade Aurora Kingdom Tower support stations, the Aurora Kingdom's disadvantage on the battlefield would be greatly relieved. It was even possible to reverse the situation. However, Zhou Zhou slowly shook his head under her expectant gaze. This method concerns the secrets of our territory. Forgive me for not being able to tell you. Leah immediately fell silent. I'm sorry, I was rude. I shouldn't have. However, I can help if you need a large number of high-level aurora crystals. Zhou Zhou said immediately before she could finish. Leah's pink lips parted slightly. Then, she reacted and was pleasantly surprised. Really? How can I spout nonsense about such a thing? However, I need a large number of high-level honorable subject corpses if I want to use this method. Zhou Zhou smiled. I brought them. This time, I didn't just bring 200 territory fusion certificates from Black Iron Tier to Diamond Tier. I also brought along the corpses of 10,000 honorable subjects. 9,000 of them are White Platinum Tier honorable subject corpses. In addition, there are 1,000 Diamond Tier honorable subject corpses. Is this enough? If it's not enough, I'll return to the kingdom immediately and apply to my father again. I can bring the remaining honorable subject corpses over. Leah immediately said. That's enough. Enough? Zhou Zhou hurriedly said. Good God. They are probably going to move the treasury of their Aurora Kingdom's honorable subjects over if he didn't stop them.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.